Well, welcome along to Zandvoort, everybody. Round 10 of the 2023 Mini 7 Championship is coming up. All of the classes combined on the same grid for this weekend here in the Netherlands, with the Mini Miglias and the Libras having a race combined with the Mini 7s and the Mini 7S class as well. They had a race yesterday. Kane Aston was the winner of that, the former champion, and therefore he starts this race from pole position with another multiple former champion lining up alongside him, which is Aaron Smith. They're about to head off very shortly onto their final formation lap, ahead of what will be their second of 3 races over the course of this weekend. So off they go, and as they head off on their formation lap ahead of this 20-minute race, let's just guide you through the way that they will line up. Kane Aston, the number 11 car, starts from pole position, and alongside him is the number 21 car in the hands of 3 times back-to-back champion Aaron Smith. Gordon Pocock in the black and the Dayglow machine, third on the grid. A brilliant race from him yesterday. He led more laps than anybody but didn't take the victory. He's got former British Touring Car champion and former Miglia champion Andrew Jordan for company. Row 3 of the grid is another former champion, Rupert Death, number 23, in his newly liveried car for this weekend. An all-black car from him. Alongside him is the blue machine in the hands of James Cuthbertson. And it's Colin Peacock and Sean King that sit there on row number 4. Ben Colburn and Larry Waugh are there on row number 5, with Johnny Kent and Mark Sims on row number 6. And it's James Colburn who's got Jeff Smith, 3 times Mini 7 champion for company, sitting there on row number 7. Rob Humphreys is there on row number 8, and alongside him is the 595 car. That is the car that is on pole position in reality for the Libra class, Julian Proctor. And then it's Hugh Turner and Phil Harvey ahead of Les Stanton and Richard Colburn. Then we'll have a couple of gaps in the grid, because that is when we get to the end of the combined grid for the Miglias and the Libras, a couple of rows gap, and then we start with the Mini 7s and the Mini 7S class. And on pole for the Mini 7s, these cars will go off about 10 seconds later. It is Mike Jordan, who has got the reigning champion, Conor O'Brien, who's had a really difficult season so far for company. Then it's Spencer Wanstall and Ross Billison on row 2 for the Mini 7s, with Joe Thompson and Glenn Woodbridge lining up there on the 3rd row for the Mini 7s. Row 4 for the 7s is Paul Woodbridge and Stephen Hopper, with Graham Davis and Darren Thomas on row number 5, Damien Harrington and Andrew King on row 6, and Joe Polly on her own on row number 7. And then after that, we get the Mini 7S classes coming up, and in reality, it's Fraser Hack that might be starting towards the tail end of the field, but he is on pole for the main Mini 7S class alongside Jonathan Page, with his father Andrew Hack starting directly behind him on the grid ahead of Chris Pryor. Stuart Gilby, Dave Rees and Matthew Ayres line up at the tail end of the field. A huge grid of cars. Something like 39 cars are here in the Netherlands over the course of this weekend. And Kane Aston will look to try and see if he can make it 2 out of 2 so far this weekend. He is a former champion. He won the championship in 2015. He was the Mini 7 champion in 2009. Last year in this championship, he finished in 5th place overall. But if you look to his right-hand side, the left as we look at it on our screens, the black car with the white and the pink flashes to it is Aaron Smith. And Aaron Smith, as we say, is 3 times a champion. He won the championship in 2018, 2019 and 2020. He's also, amazingly, a 3 times runner-up in this championship as well, having finished runner-up in the standings in 17, in 21 and last year as well in 2022. So we've got all of the Libras and the Miglias lined up on the grid. We're just waiting for the final few 7s to come into position at the tail end of the field. 20 minutes are showing on the clock. We're on the full Grand Prix circuit here in Zandvoort, which is 2.6 miles. Just under 4.3 kilometres. It was redesigned, of course, in 2020 to bring Formula One back to the Netherlands after a gap of many years. Red lights are on, and as they go out now, we get round 10 of the championship underway. A brilliant start from Kane Aston in what are changeable conditions out there today. Difficult for the drivers to know what they wanted to do with the setup of their cars, but it's going to be Aaron Smith that leads as they head through Tarzan for the first time. Kane Aston in 2nd place, and Andrew Jordan slotted his way through into 3rd place. Rupert Death is there in 4th, and then it's the blue car, which will be James Cuthbertson, who's there in 5th, with Gordon Pocock in the black car with the Dayglow flashes down to 6th. The 7s were about to get going. I also saw one car briefly in the pit lane there. That's one of the Clearson's Rune Speeds prepared cars. As, by the look of things, Ben Colburn is trying to draw himself alongside Gordon Pocock as speeds begin to build as they head up towards Roos Slotermaker. And is he through? Yes, he is. Gordon Pocock at the wheel of the black and the Dayglow yellow machine has lost another place. The 7s get going. It looks as though it's Spencer Wanstall to the right of your screens in the red car with the headlamps on that's got the better start over the reigning champion, Conor O'Brien. So he will lead the 7s in the early stages. So towards the front of the order, looks as though Spencer Wadsall has hung on to the lead of the sevens. Conor O'Brien is there in second place, and the white car with its headlamps on will be Joe Thompson, the man from Leicestershire, who's through into third and ahead of Mike Jordan, who's dropped down into fourth position from what was in reality pole of the sevens. There goes Jeff Smith, 3 times a former Mini 7 champion. There's contact further back. Darren Thomas, by the look of things, and Fraser Hack almost rubbing with each other. There's another little rub as they come out of the corner. That will delay both, and they lose places to Damien Harrington, who eases his way through and past. So bits of bodywork just starting to fall off those 2 cars after the light touch between them all, but it is still greasy and damp in places around this circuit, and I think that was a puncture for Fraser Hack as he came through the corner there. The front left of the car all of a sudden I think had a puncture there. Just caught it on the camera before we pick up with what's going on at the sharp end of the sevens. See speeds beginning to build. Great fight. 6 cars have broken away for the lead of the Mini 7 overall race lead, but it is Spencer Wadsall that's leading the way at the moment, from Joe Thompson in second place, and there is Fraser Hack. Yeah, he is out of the car. There clearly was a problem. You could see the frustration as he slams the door closed on his car. He, I'm afraid, is out of the race, the man who lies third in the championship standings in the Mini 7S class. Back to the overall leaders at this stage. Those top few cars having broken away. Kane Aston leads Aaron Smith. Then it's Andrew Jordan. From then these 3 cars, Rupert Deep, Ben Colburn and James Cuthbertson. So Ben Colburn now up into 5th position. James Cuthbertson in the blue car down to 6th as they continue to build the speeds again. Through the right and the left flicks up towards Skyflack, which is turn number 4 here. There's Fraser Hack's stranded car in the background there on the exit of Skyflack. But for the lead of the race, all of the time, Aaron Smith looking to try and build an advantage from Kane Aston and Andrew Jordan. Those front 3 cars have just pulled away from the 4th, 5th and 6th place battle. Remember, it's a 20-minute race. We've got 17 minutes still to go. Aaron Smith looking to see whether he could scoop up for him what would be win number 2 of the championship season. And for the main Mini 7 class, by the look of things, no longer is it Spencer Wadsall in the lead. It's the white car, the number 80 car of Joe Thompson, that's gone through to pick up the lead. And Spencer Wadsall, who was leading that, is now down into 3rd in the category. Kane Aston allows Andrew Jordan to squeeze his way through, left the door open a bit, didn't quite get the braking point right potentially there, but gets a better run coming out of the corner and is now starting to close in once more on the car that's just taken 2nd place away from him. And all of this is playing beautifully into the hands of Aaron Smith, who's starting to just gap them all and disappear up the road. Here come the mid-pack runners in the Mini 7S class. And that's Stephen Hopper who's had an off. Damage to the front of Stephen Hopper's car, and you can see all of the coolant on the floor as well. So Stephen Hopper's had an off somewhere, and I'm afraid that is going to bring out the safety car. So all of that hard work that Aaron Smith had done to build up the advantage is all going to count, but not a great deal, I'm afraid. So we go full course caution here in the Netherlands. So it's round 10 of the championship. They've got another race to come up later on over the course of the day before they then return to the UK with races, a double header at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit as part of the Mini Festival. Then it's up to Croft in North Yorkshire, and the final 2 races they go back to Silverstone where they started the year. So safety car is guiding them around. You can see the start there. You can see the little bit of contact between Darren Thomas and Fraser Hack, and then at the next corner, front left of Fraser Hack's car went down. That was an off for Stuart Gilby, who managed to just keep it out of the barriers and on the grass. There's the frustrated Fraser Hack. Look as he closes the door. Yeah, big slam. Tells you everything that you need to know about how he's feeling at the moment. Also, we were 3 wide further back through the order. Johnny Kent raising a wheel, the ever familiar name in mini racing, whether it be in historic cars, but it is Stephen Hopper's car that's brought about the safety car, and also probably with Fraser Hack's car stricken where it is as well. Sensible thing with a couple of cars needing a bit of assistance. We can get them out of harm's way and then get the race underway, but Stephen Hopper clearly has had contact with something or somebody, because you can see the coolant on the floor. So they'll be weaving around to try and maintain the temperature in the Control Dunlop slick tyres that the Miglias run. It is a treaded tyre that the likes of the Mini 7s and the Mini 7S class cars run. But what is a strange old day here in the Netherlands. Very, very windy it's been over the course of this weekend. You can still see the damp patches around the circuit as well. And certainly in the first race of the weekend that we had, the likes of Kane Aston and many others couldn't quite decide what tyres to bolt on the car. So at the end of the first lap, he was in 27th position. Came through to win the first race of the weekend. It really was a topsy-turvy race, the first race of the weekend. But this is the second race of the weekend. They'll be hoping to add to the championship tally. And hopefully it shouldn't take too long to get these cars out of harm's way. So Aaron Smith leads the way from Andrew Jordan and Kane Aston. Rupert Death is fourth from Ben Colburn and James Cuthbertson. Down in 12th place, Richard Colburn leads the Libra class at this stage from Hugh Turner and Les Stanton. The Mini 7S class, the Mini 7 class I should say, is being led by Joe Thompson from the reigning champion Conor O'Brien and Spencer Wanstall. And the Mini 7S class, it is Andy Hack, who is another former champion. He was a champion in the Mini Miglia class back the best part of, it's amazing to think so, the best part of 15 years ago now, 2007, 2008, 2009, Andy Hack won the Miglia class, but he's back in the S class this year, and at the moment is leading that down in 25th position overall. So a bit more weaving round to be done. The advantage that Aaron Smith had built up in the lead of the race, he's got all of that hard work to try and do again. The race yesterday was won by Kane Aston to the tune of some 15 seconds in the end. That was the lead advantage that he had built up. Well, with this safety car period, Aaron Smith will be hard pressed to try and build a similar advantage in the second race of the weekend. So safety car still out there for the moment. Are we going to see the safety car peeling this time through? No, the lights are still on, so it's coming over the start finish line. There's the reprofiled final corner here at Zandvoort. Arie Luijendijk, that banked section of it. But the reason that we are still under full course caution is because Stephen Hopper's car has not as yet been moved out of harm's way. And equally, our hard-working marshals here are still in the process of sweeping up the debris from the track and making sure that the coolant or whatever it was that was deposited by his stricken car is dealt with as well. So you can see them all just busy weaving around. They want to get on with it, but equally as much they'll know full well that until it's safe to go racing, there's not a lot they can do. The white car with the red roof and its lights on heading towards us is Joe Thompson, who leads the Mini 7 category. And the white car with Hack written on the front and the yellow roof, that's Andy Hack, who leads the Mini 7S class at the moment. He's doing a good job, actually. He's got a few Mini 7s sitting behind him. You can tell the different classes by the windscreen headers, in reality, of the cars. So ones with the green windscreen headers are Mini 7S class. The red windscreen headers are Mini 7 class. Stephen Hopper's car is towed out of harm's way now by the recovery unit, which means that once that is back behind the barriers, both the car and the recovery unit, we, fingers crossed, might be able to go green at the end of this lap, but we'll have to wait and see as to where the gap is in the barriers to get that car out of harm's way. Great view through the other sort of banked curve that we've got, which is Hookerholz, and then from there it's Hunzerüge, and then you start to build the speed as you head through the twists and turns of the sort of right and left and right, and it goes uphill, this section here of Rob Sloterbacher. Great little section this is, and this is the point at which, if you look at the two pieces of tarmac off to the left hand side, you can either have it as the full Grand Prix circuit with a chicane, or you can run the short version of Zandvoort and sort of hairpin at that piece of tarmac in the background and head back down the straight towards Hans Erst, as it's known, which is the very tight right and left chicane stroke hairpin. So they are safely heading now through Masters Bocht, which is turn 6. Turn 8, I should say, and then down towards turn 9 and turn number 10. And next time we've got to look at the safety car, we'll be able to pick out as to whether its lights are still illuminated. The lights are still on. Our lights go out now, so that's the suggestion that we're going to go back to green flag racing this next time through, when we're only halfway through this race as well, so we've still got the best part of 10 minutes to go, 9 3/4 minutes to go. So the safety car will accelerate away. Aaron Smith will then control the pace as to when he wants to get things back underway. Lots of weaving being done from side to side. And for the moment, Aaron Smith has not jumped on the throttle pedal as yet and gone for it. Once he's jumped on the throttle pedal and gone for it, there's no more hanging back. Now, they head through Hans Erst and then up towards the next right-hander, which will be Kumo. Now there is Stephen Hopper's car. That just shows what he was trying to get the car out of harm's way, but no, unfortunately that was not to be the case. The lights are still on the safety car. I thought they'd gone out. So there's Stephen Hopper. He's out the car. He's absolutely fine. Just doing some replays of the clearing up of the incident, but the yellow flags and the safety car boards are coming in, so we are about to get things back underway with 9 minutes still to go in round 10 of the 2023 Championship. And as they head up towards Tarzan, Aaron Smith is under pressure from Kane Astin, who thought about going around the outside but then leaves the door open for Andrew Jordan. Rupert Deeth, who's a former champion in the all-black car, is not that far behind. Rupert is a 3 times champion as well, 2014, 2017, 2020, finished 3rd in the championship a couple of years ago when he was back to becoming the champion last year, and his new number 23 car in its black livery rather than the familiar silver and orange is starting to put Ben Colburn under pressure. For the lead of the sevens, Joe Thompson has hung on to the lead of the sevens, but he's got the reigning champion, number 1, Conor O'Brien, right on his tailpipes. Brilliant squabbles all the way down through the order. Ross Billison's having a good run. He's up to 3rd, but he's got Spencer Watson trying to sneak up the inside in the 73. Mike Jordan's trying all the way around the outside, and also Glenn Woodbridge in the blue number 5 car trying to get in on the mix as well. So this little quartet of cars fighting over 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th in the Mini 7s at the moment as we go back to the Miglias, and Aaron Smith has picked up where he left off really. He's built a gap between himself and the car that's now in 2nd place, which is no longer Kane Astin. It's the number 77 car of Andrew Jordan that's through and has taken up the position. Andrew Jordan, another former champion. He was the 2021 Mini Miglia champion, but he's coming under pressure now from the 2015 champion. Kane Astin right behind him. Towards the braking area for Hans Erst, they will go. They flick right, then through the left-hand hairpin, and down the very short straight that brings them up towards Kumo, where the speeds begin to build all of the time. And then once you come out of this right-hander here, Kumo, you're then up almost instantly up towards the bank section at Ari Lyondike, which is the final corner here on the 2.646 mile Zandvoort pre-circuit, which is 4.259 kilometres. Speeds building all of the time. So important in these cars as well to stay in the tail of the car. They're not the most powerful. They're certainly very, very quick and rapid little minis, but still not the most powerful, as Andrew Jordan feels the pinch from Kane Astin. Equally as much in the background, Rupert Deeth was under pressure from Ben Colburn, who's made it through. The green and the orange and the black car of Ben Colburn now moves up into 4th place, and Rupert Deeth is down into 5th as Kane Astin sneaks up the inside of Andrew Jordan and tries to make it through to 2nd place, but Jordan's having none of that. They're all on the grass in the background by the look of things. Joe Polly is on the grass there. I think that was Jonathan Page in his Mini 7S class that also recovered from the grass and is back on the tarmac, so something happened there. But for the lead of the sevens, it is the reigning champion, which is Conor O'Brien, trying to go all the way around the outside of Joe Thompson, who was 3rd in the championship last year and the year before. Can he close the door on the reigning champion? He's trying to squeeze him, but no, by the look of things, he can't go through there. Conor O'Brien, he's on the outside line for the next of the corner, but will have the inside as they then head up towards Hugenholtz. So through has gone Conor O'Brien, or has he? No, on the way out of the corner, Joe Thompson gets the better drive off the corner and picks up the lead of the Mini 7s once more. Brilliant stuff. 5 minutes still to go. Joe Thompson trying to drive the wheels off the thing. Quick replay of exactly what happened. You can see in the background there must be some sort of fluid down, because several cars all skittering off the tarmac, so somebody's definitely deposited something down there for 5, 6, 7 cars all to disappear off the tarmac at the same spot. I don't think the weather conditions have closed in at all, albeit it has been a changeable day generally here in the west coast of the Netherlands. There's Johnny Kent once more at the wheel of his Miglia, so we regularly see him racing pre-66 minis as well, Johnny Kent, as do many of the drivers in the field actually. But for the Mini 7s at the moment, Joe Thompson, number 80, still looking to try and hang on to the lead of the Mini 7s. His father was a former champion both in the 7s and in the Miglias. Joe Thompson at the moment has claimed 2 wins so far this season and has only failed to finish off the podium on 2 occasions. Once when he retired, which was the first of the 2 races at Thruxton in Hampshire, and in the second of the 2 races at Thruxton he finished 4th. Those are the only 2 occasions he's finished off the podium so far this year. In a championship which has 17 races, and you drop your 3 worst scores. So we're getting to that stage of the season now with this weekend, 5, 6 races to go, where top scores come into the equation. long as you've not been disqualified, you can drop those point scoring positions. 4 minutes to go over the start finish line. Joe Thompson still leading the way, but only just from Conor O'Brien. You can see the red car is Spencer Wanstel in the background. A slight locked brake from Conor O'Brien. Is he going to try on the outside at Tarzan again? That would prise the door open for the inside line as they head up towards the next corner potentially. And is he going to be able to make it through? Yes, he is. But the next corner, they go right once more, and they are still side by side. Brilliant. So respectful driving from both, leaning on each other, giving each other just enough room, but not a single little touch between the pair of them as yet. There's not much room there, but there's just about enough daylight. Speeds begin to build again. The more they squabble, watch out for the red car, the 73 of Spencer Wanstel in the background, because he is beginning to edge up now onto the cars ahead of him. And equally as much, he will also be conscious that he's got some of the other cars trying to close in on him as well, which is one of the Clearson's Rune Speed cars that sits behind. So Joe Thompson still just about able to hang on to the place at the moment. Despite the very best efforts of Conor O'Brien, he's not as yet been able to prise the door open to pick up the lead of the Mini 7 category. And Conor O'Brien now has got Spencer Wanstel right behind him. Just look at that. It was the squabble for second and third that's now beginning to form. Joe Thompson still just out front. Not that far off them as well will be the next of the cars as well, which I think is going to be Mark Sims trying to thread his way through and past them actually at the wheel of his Miglia. So he should be able to ease his way through in the more powerful car down the straight. But as they then head up towards the braking area for Hans Erst once more. Now it's Darren Thomas actually that's behind, so if that is Darren Thomas, then yeah, that is a Miglia that is... no, it isn't. Darren Thomas is in the 7s, I should say. This will be first, second, third and fourth altogether in the 7s, so Darren Thomas with his lights ablaze will be to try and close in. So out and up towards turn number 9 and turn number 10. They go through Harry Lyondike and over the start-finish line. A couple of minutes to go. Joe Thompson clinging on to the lead of the category at this stage, but the pressure beginning to build. Johnny Kent pulls into the pit lane, and now we have side by side for the lead of the race. And as they head in towards the braking area for Tarzan, Conor O'Brien sneaks his way through and picks up the position. The green car behind was actually not Darren Thomas, it was Mark Sims. Now I can see the number of it. It's car number 20, so it was a Miglia that was closing in. So it's first, second and third that were all squabbling away in the 7s category. But out front, Aaron Smith has broken the toe on Andrew Jordan behind and is looking good here with a minute and a half to go to potentially scoop up for him what would be only his second win of the championship season, Aaron Smith. What Aaron has done this year is be unbelievably consistent. His worst finish of the season so far, I think, was when he finished in 6th place in the opening round at Silverstone. Other than that, Aaron Smith has been on the podium in every single race so far. He's had one win so far this season. He has had now, after yesterday's second place, he has had 5 second place finishes and he's had 2/3. And it's consistency that wins you championship, as he well knows, because he's a 3 times champion in this category. There's Phil Harvey, stalwart of the club, still going strong as Phil's been racing in the Mini 7s and it's a club for many, many years indeed. Some other good battles still going on in the Libra category as well, by the look of things. The number 1, 2, 3 will be Hugh Turner. He has got bottled up behind him Les Stanton, and then just off that, by the look of things, is Julian Proctor as well. So that is a good little fight. Quick replay, and that's Colin Peacock all over the curbs, and a retirement there, I'm afraid, for the 219 car, which is Richard Colburn. So Richard Colburn out of the race. Further down through the Mini 7s, we've got some squabbling going on. Darren Thomas, Graham Davis, Damien Harrington, Joe Polly, all together and tripping over each other almost. Just a little bit of light contact between them all, but we are on what is now the last lap of the race by the look of things. And Aaron Smith will be more than pleased to see the checker flag. Julian Proctor looking as though he might pick up a place here as he looks to try and sneak up the inside of Les Stanton, but Les Stanton in the 113 having none of it, keeping the former Mini 7 S-Class champion Julian Proctor behind him at this stage. Proctor will have another run though, and we're side by side for the lead of the 7s as well as they head on to their final lap. Conor O'Brien and Joe Thompson wheel to wheel once more, but it's Conor O'Brien that comes out in the lead of the 7s. Joe Thompson in the number 80 car down to second. Then we've also got right behind them Spencer Wanstel as well. So the top 3 all squabbling over what step of the podium they want to be on in the Mini 7s. The clock has ticked to 0, so they are now on their last lap of the race. And it's still anyone's guess as to who's going to stand on to which step of the podium. So up towards the start-finish line very shortly will come our race leader. The rest of the cars just heading on to their final lap now. So here comes Phil Harvey towards the camera now. So he's been racing in the Mini 7 category, or Mini 7 Racing Club series, for a huge amount of years as Phil Harvey in the Motley Mini. Joe Thompson sliding the second place number 80 Mini 7 through the corner, looking to see whether he can muster anything further to try and sneak his way through and past Conor O'Brien, but it's all to no avail at the moment. He's also conscious that if he tries something and it doesn't work, that he's got Spencer Wanstall right behind him as well at this stage. Joe Thompson is ahead of his main championship rival, which is Mike Jordan, so it's a good points haul for him if he can hang on to second. But Joe will want the win, that's for sure, because he's already had 2 wins so far this season, whereas for Conor O'Brien, he has had such an awful start to the season. Now side by side, Conor O'Brien squeezes Joe Thompson, a little bit of contact between the two of them. Conor O'Brien off and onto the grass and the curb. Spencer Wanstall and Joe Thompson keep going. They're side by side, but it is Spencer Wanstall now that has picked up the lead of the Mini 7 category. Brilliant stuff from him, just waiting for the two ahead to trip over each other. Let's just have a quick look. Joe Thompson brave round the outside of one corner to get the inside for the next. Conor O'Brien tried to squeeze him. Thompson was there. Through goes Spencer Wanstall. Thank you very much. So over the start-finish side they will come. Aaron Smith has already taken the checkered flag, but Spencer Wanstall, you can see, he is chuffed with that one, and rightly so for Spencer Wanstall. He will be hugely, hugely pleased with that win. He had to work for it, he had to be patient. It is his first win of the season, and his other best result came in the very opening round of the championship when he was second at Silverstone. So it's been a long time coming, this first win of the season for Spencer Wanstall, and yeah, even now, part the way down and through the slowdown lap, he's still shaking his fist with absolute delight. So a brilliant second race of the weekend for the Mini category, the Mini 7 Racing Club, with all of their cars, whether it be in the Miglia class, the Libra class, the Mini 7 class, or the Mini 7S class, battles right the way throughout the order, as has been the case really since this championship was first introduced in 1966 was the first year. I would say without question it's probably the oldest one make category that we've got racing in the world. First ever champion was Bob Fox back in 1966, and then the Miglia category was introduced in 1970, where Mick Osborne was the first ever champion. And year after year after year, they provide some of the best, some of the closest, and some of the fairest racing as well. And who hasn't got a soft spot for the original Eric Isagonas designed Mini after all as well? So all of the cars have now taken the checkered flag. We should very shortly be able to confirm some results for you as well. But you can see on the tower there on the left-hand side of the screen, Aaron Smith is the winner in the end. So he will be absolutely delighted with that one. Looks as though Hugh Turner ultimately came through to claim the Libra category. The Mini 7 category was won by Joe Thompson, was won by Spencer Wanstall, I should say. And the Mini 7S class category, we'll work out who that was. I think it was Andy Hack in the end as well that would have scooped up the win in that one, car number 723. There he is now, Andy Hack. So all of the cars heading back into the paddock area. There's still work to be done by the teams and the drivers, and the families and the friends and the helpers and the hangers-on to prepare the car for what is round 11 of the championship that's coming up a little bit later on today. But some brilliant racing having been completed by everybody. One of the crows there's a little bit of something to nibble on. I think it's a bit of Mini that he's a bit of partial to. There's Dave Rees, who's been racing for Minis for a period of time. So I think the crows found some lunch, maybe something that was hit by one of the cars out there on circuit. So maybe that was what caused the issue to Stephen Hopper's car. Simply don't know. So everybody being waved off into the paddock area, and then we can rattle through some results for you very, very shortly indeed, and look forward to what is going to be our third and final race of the weekend here in the Netherlands. The grid for that final race is based on the finishing positions of this one, but it's the top 8 that get reversed usually. Whether that's the case with all of these cars having made the trip from UK over to mainland Europe, whether they're going to swap the top 8, we'll wait and see later on when we get to that grid. So in the changeable conditions here in the Netherlands, the rain starting to fall again. Tricky for the drivers out there. They all mastered the conditions, but the master of all of them was Aaron Smith, who claimed the win, and as we say, that is now his second win of the championship season and keeps up that brilliant run of consistency that he's had. So the highlights then, it was a great start from Spencer Wanstall in the Mini 7 category. There was a little bit of contact between Darren Thomas and Fraser Hack as they went through the first train of corners, further contact on the way out of it, and that did cause a puncture for Fraser Hack. A spin for Stuart Gilby earlier on. He kept the car out of the barriers and would continue, but for Fraser Hack that contact caused him a puncture. He was out of the car, out of the race, and slightly disappointed to say the least. Confirming the results for you then, Aaron Smith claims the win from Andrew Jordan in second place with Kane Aston in third, and it's Ben Colburn in fourth from Rupert Death and Jeff Smith who complete the top six. James Cuthbertson was there in seventh with Colin Peacock in eighth place, and then we had the winner of the Libra category coming through, which was going to be in the end the car of Les Stanton. The main Mini 7 category was secured by Spencer Wanstall, and the Mini 7 S-Class category was secured by Andy Hack. And that is at least some consolation for the Hack family, with his son Fraser having departed the race very, very early on. Stephen Hopper's car brought about that safety car period. We did get the race back underway again, but of course Aaron Smith had all of that lead advantage that he built up diminished somewhat. There was a good fight further down through the order in the Miglias as well, as Ben Colburn managed to sneak up the inside of the 23 of Rupert Death. And the Mini 7s and the Mini 7 S-Class rolled up their sleeves and started to slug it out once more towards the tail end of the field. But Aaron Smith started to break away again after that safety car period. It just allowed him to gap Andrew Jordan and Kane Aston, who were busy squabbling away over second and third position, whilst there was a brilliant fight forming in the Mini 7s as well. Joe Thompson leading Conor O'Brien, but somebody had put some fluid down somewhere because several cars were all caught out as they went through Masters box. And midway through the race and midway through the lap as well. Thankfully, everybody managed to scramble their way back out of the gravel trap. Andrew Jordan eventually was able to squeeze his way through and past the race one winner, which was Kane Aston in the Mini 7 Libra category. There was the pigeon that was caught by Hugh Turner's car by the look of things, so that allowed the Crow to dine once the race had finished. And as we looked elsewhere through the order, we'd still got that great fight going on for the lead of the Mini 7 category. There was no let up in the pressure that Conor O'Brien was applying to Joe Thompson, and the two of them would eventually get a little bit too close to each other. They were giving each other just about enough room at this stage of the race, but as we saw towards the end, it simply wasn't to be. Colin Peacock had a bit of a rally crossing moment as well and was able to rejoin the circuit, the man based in London. There was retirement for Richard Colburn quite late on in the race as well, one of three members of the Colburn family. He's the dad that was racing here this weekend, and things got a little bit tight for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th in the Mini 7 category as well, with Darren Thomas, Damien Harrington bumping into each other. Paul Woodbridge got involved as well. Graham Davis wasn't too far away. Joe Polly wanted in on the fun as well. So that was a really good little squabble that they were all having. But the top three in the Mini 7s were long gone. Conor O'Brien and Joe Thompson still fighting it out, whilst the red car of Spencer Wanstall had the best seat in the house, the number 73 car. He just hung back and waited for his moment to come. And it would come later on in the race. Les Stanton and Julian Proctor were having a good battle for second and third, but finally there was that little bit of contact between Conor O'Brien and Joe Thompson, which pitched Conor O'Brien off and onto the grass on the outside of the corner, and it allowed Spencer Wanstall to sneak his way through and grab the lead of the Mini 7 category, and with that claim his first win of the 2023 championship season. A brilliant race was had by everybody. They've all threaded their way back in towards the paddock area, and they'll all be looking forward to maybe having a bite to eat before they head back out for their second race today, their third race of the weekend. So darkening clouds over Zandvoort here, and that is it for our second race of the weekend. Thanks for joining us for round 10 of the championship, but don't go too far away. We'll be back later on today with round 11. Until then, it's goodbye.